Hi, Lauren here from the Mohonk Preserve, one of the education coordinators, and I have another nature nugget for you. We are going to be outside here and we're going to measure the height of a tree using ratios. So this is a great STEM activity for kids who are in upper elementary age, so about 3rd, 4th grade, 5th grade, on up through middle school, learning how to use ratios, manipulate math, and it's real world math and science because we're outside and we're going to be measuring the height of a tree. So this is the tree that we're going to measure. It's a very tall tree. I'm not going to climb up to the top of the tree. And I also don't have a measuring tape that's long enough to do that. So I'm going to use ratios to do it. All you need is a ruler and a science notebook. Let me show you how to set up your notebook. All right, here is my science notebook, my science journal. We're going to measure the height of trees using ratios. So we're going to use a ruler. Got a ruler right here. Now the length of the ruler is 12 inches. It's a regular old U ruler. For this activity, you need at least 2 people. So today I have borrowed my neighbors, Nicole and Eli. All right, so I have my 2 volunteers here. I have Eli, wave. And I have Nicole. Hi. All right, so they're demonstrating how to calculate a ratio using a ruler. So Eli is standing next to the tree and Nicole is far enough away from the tree that with her ruler, the bottom part of that ruler is at the base of the tree when she holds her arm out, and the top of the ruler is at the top of the tree. So she's taking a measurement now with her arm straight out, looking right at that tree. And now, how tall ruler height is Eli?
About 2.5 inches.
2.5 inches ruler height. That's pretty big. No, no, that's fine. 2.5 inches ruler height. So we're going to use that number to create a ratio to help us to figure out how tall that tree is. So we'll remember that. We'll write that down in our science journal. Yeah. So part 2, to calculate exactly how tall the tree is, we need to know exactly how tall Eli is. So Nicole is measuring Eli's height by pushing down the hair.
It looks like he is about 67 inches.
67 inches. All right, we will write that down in our science journal. Okay, so it's time to fill in our science notebook. So we already have the length of the ruler is 12 inches. The ruler height of our student, if you remember, Eli, was 2.5 inches. So I turned the fraction into a decimal, so 2.5 is 2.5 inches. Great. So now we can set up the ratio. So here's the equation. The ratio is going to equal the length of the ruler over the ruler height of the student. So the ruler height of our student just said was 2.5 inches. Great. Now we need to calculate the ratio. So you can use a calculator or you can do it in your head. Here's a fraction. All right, so I did use a calculator to make sure I have it right. So I took 12 divided by 2.5 and I got 4.8 inches. All right, remember, we like to keep our units that are on there. Now, in order to complete our ratio, we need the actual height of the student. So Eli was 67 inches when we measured him. All right, I've got that on there now. Perfect. So in order to figure out the height of the tree, we're going to take the actual height of the student and multiply it by what our ratio turned out to be. So this is going to give us the actual height of the tree. Since we know that the ratio of tree height to Eli height is 4.8 inches, then we can multiply that ratio by Eli's actual height, and that is going to give us tree height. So let's figure that out. Tree height is going to equal times our ratio. Very exciting. All right, so there's our tree height. There's the formula written out. 67 inches times 4.8 inches. So let's see how tall this tree is. All right, so I multiplied 67 inches by 4.8 inches, and I got the tree height to be 321.6 inches. Well, wow. Now, that is a lot of inches, and I need to convert that into feet. And the way to do that is to take the tree height and divide it by 12 inches, because there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So when we do that, we will get... Okay, so when we take that 321.6 inches and divide it by 12 inches, we'll get feet. So it is 26.8 feet high. That's how big this tree is right here that I'm sitting under. So this is a great way to show, the great way to show all the math stuff that are in there to figure out the ratios. There are other ways of writing this as well. I can demonstrate. So older students may recognize this as doing proportions and doing the old cross multiply method. This is where you compare two different things. So we can compare the length of the ruler over the ruler height is going to equal, that's our ratio, the tree height over the actual height of the student. So here's the ruler height of the student, here's the actual height of the student. Here's the length of the ruler from ground to the top of the tree, here's the actual tree height. So we're comparing these two things, they're equal. So when you write it out with the numbers, you get the 12 inches is the length of the ruler, and the 2.5 inches was Eli's height on the ruler. Now we don't know the tree height, so I'm going to call that X. But we do know that Eli's actual height is 67 inches. So when we cross multiply, we'll multiply the 12 times the 67 and the 2.5 by the tree height, which we're calling X. So we get 104 inches is going to equal 2.5 times the X. We want the X by itself. And so that is when we are going to divide both sides by 2.5. And sure enough, we get 321.6 inches. And again, we want that to be in feet. So we will divide this answer one more time by 12 inches. 26.8 feet for our tree height. So there's two different ways of doing the calculations for this, two different ways to practice math. So you may have more than one tree in your yard, and maybe you want to know how tall all the trees are around here. You do need a long enough open area space that you can stand far back from. So if you noticed, Nicole had to stand quite a distance away from the tree to get that eyesight from the top of the tree to the bottom of the tree, having that ruler match up. So you do need a good open space to do this. You also need a tree. But you could also measure buildings, maybe measure the height of your house or your garage that's out there, a shed, something, anything at all that's out there you want to measure. You can also, if it's a rainy day, you can also perhaps do this inside and measure the height of the room that you're in. That works as well. If you don't have a friend with you, maybe you can set up one of your toys next to a table and try using ratios to measure those things. So find different things that you can measure, preferably outdoors, especially when it's so nice outside, and measure these trees. Use the different methods. You can set up proportions, you can use ratios, and practice those math skills, multiplication and division skills. Like I said, you do need two people to do this when you're outside, so it's a good use of your siblings who are around, or your parents. Get your parents involved. Parents and kids doing this fun math activity together. So hopefully this helped you out, learning how to do some of these maths and using ratios and things. And I hope you do get outside and practice more STEM activities and enjoy this beautiful sunshine. So until next time, we'll see you again for a Nature Nugget.